Hi. Welcome to this yoga practice where we're going to focus primarily on hips. For this practice, the only prop you need is a strap. In lieu of a strap, you can use a belt or a dog leash. So gather those now, and then when you're ready, we'll go ahead and get started. So for this practice, we're going to start by coming up onto our knees into what's called candlestick pose, where our head is over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips, hips over the knees. And then from here, we're going to take an inhale. On the exhale, bring the hips out to the right and gaze over the left shoulder. Inhale to center. Exhale, hips to the left, gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale to center. Do this a couple more times on your own. Just going to the point where you start to feel a sensation. One movement per breath. And then finish the round you're on, and then come back to center. And then come down into what's called table pose, where the shoulders are over the wrists, hips over the knees, and tops of the feet onto the mat. Gazing down between the hands, doing some sideways cat and cow here. So take an inhale. On your exhale, bring the hips out to the right, gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale to center, exhale hips to the left, gaze over the right. Inhale to center, hips to the right, gaze to the left. Inhale to center, exhale hips to the left, gaze to the right. One more round on your own. And then from here, we're going to move from table pose into child's pose. So maybe bring the knees a little bit wider. Take an inhale, stay where you're at. On the exhale, bring the hips back towards the heels. Inhale, come back to table. Exhale, hips to the heels. Inhale to table. Then exhale, hips to the heels in the child's pose once again. Maybe walking the hands a little bit more forward. Start to feel a stretch in the outer parts just underneath the shoulder. Then take an inhale here. On the exhale, we're going to walk the arms and the upper body out to the right side, so left fingertips stretched away from the left hip, feeling that stretch in the left hip. Inhale back to center. On the next exhale, walk out to the left side, stretching that right side body. Again, feeling that stretch in the outer part of that right hip. Inhale, come back to table. And then from here, we're going to do some hip rolls. So take an inhale, stay where you're at. On the exhale, bring the hips out to the right and down. Inhale, hips to the left and forward. Exhale, hips to the right and down. Inhale to the left and forward. Exhale, hips to the right and down. Inhale, hips to the left and forward, and then switching directions. Exhale, hips to the left and down. Inhale, hips to the right and forward. Do this a couple more times on your own. then come back to your table pose when you're done. And then from here, we'll swing our legs out to the front, lie onto your back, and then this is where you're going to be using your strap. So with the knees bent, soles of the feet onto the ground, bring your right knee in towards you and place the strap around the bottom of the right foot. Now extend the right leg up to the sky. Have the heel pressing away from the right hip, with the right hip still down at the ground, and extend that left leg long. Taking a couple breaths here. And then from here, bring the strap into the right hand. And we're going to do some rather subtle movements here. So keeping your heel where it's at, take an inhale and then point the toes slightly inward on the exhale. On the inhale, come to center. Exhale, turn the toes slightly outward. Inhale, come back to center. And do this a couple more times on your own. Even though it's subtle, you might feel a larger sensation in the hips, in the inner part of the hips, the outer part. And then when you finish that last round, just bring the toes pointed back behind you. And then with that strap in the right hand, lower the right leg over to the right side. So you're feeling more of a stretch in the inner part of that right leg now. But the more you extend that right heel, the more you'll still feel a stretch in the back of that right leg as well. So even though the focus is on that right leg here, still keep that left leg active. Have that left heel stretched away from the left hip. Keep breathing. And then on your next inhale, bring the strap back up to the sky, leg up to the sky, bring the strap into the left hand, and then bring that right leg over to the left side this time. So now you're feeling more of the sensation probably in the outer part of that right hip. The more you still keep that right heel away from the right hip, the more stretch you'll feel in the back of that right leg as well. Especially using the exhale here to breathe into that area that you're holding tension, to allow that area to soften and release. And then when you're ready, bring that right leg back up, bend into the knee, release the strap, bring that right foot down, knees pointed up, left foot back next to the right, left knee pointed up as well. Then we're going to switch into the other side. So this time bring the left knee in, bring the strap around the bottom of the left foot. Extend that left leg long up towards the ceiling, right leg extended long, heel towards the front of the room. Feeling that sensation in the back of that left leg. Only go into a point where you're feeling a stretch. If you feel pain or shortness of breath, just back off a little bit by putting a slight bend into the knee. Then from here, bring the strap into the left hand. And we'll do the same thing as we did on the other side. So take an inhale, stay where you're at. Exhale, turn the toes in, point towards the midline. Inhale to center. Exhale, turning toes out to the side. Inhale, toes back to center. Exhale, inward turn of the toes. Exhale, or inhale to center. Exhale, turn the toes out. And then one more time. On the next exhale, turn the toes in. Inhale to center. Exhale, turning the toes out. And then coming back to center. So from here, with strap into the left hand, bring the left leg out to the left side. Again, only to the point where you're feeling a nice stretch, not pain or discomfort here. Again, the more you extend that left heel away from the left hip, the more sensation you'll feel in the back of that leg. Take a couple more breaths here. Again, just as on the other side, even though the focus is on the left leg, keeping that right leg active as well, keeping that right hip down to the ground, even though the weight is kind of shifted over to the left. So from here, on the inhale, bring this leg and the strap back up, bring the strap into the right hand, then bring that left leg over to the right side. Again, extend, straighten that leg, extend the heel away from the hip. Nice long fluid, nice long inhale, nice long exhale. You may notice it can go a little bit deeper in the pose, a little bit more with every exhale. And then inhale, bring that left leg and strap back up, bend into the left knee. Move your strap off to the side. Bring the left foot down, knee bent. Bring the right foot back next to the left knee. And then from here, coming into a reclining pigeon pose, bring the right ankle over the left knee. Bring the left knee in towards the chest. Interlace the hands behind the left leg. Gently bring both knees in towards the chest. Now this is an option for many people, but for me, I have a hard time keeping the head on the ground. So another option, if you're like me, bring one hand to the foot, one hand onto the knee, and gently bring those in. Still getting that same benefit of that stretch in the outer part of that right hip. Maybe if you go a little bit from side to side, you might feel a change in the sensation. And then maybe just hold it where you're feeling it the best. And then when you're ready to release, bring that left foot down, release that right ankle from the left knee, bring the right foot down. Then we'll set up for the other side. So this time left ankle over right knee. Bring the right knee into the chest. Again, you can interlace behind the right leg, or one hand to the left foot, one hand to the left knee. And then especially on the exhales, bring those knees a little bit closer to the chest. Long inhales, even longer exhales. Again, feel free to make some subtle movements here, going from one direction to the other if you'd like. And then once you find that spot where you like to stay, go ahead and stay there. And then again, focus on that breath, especially the exhales, to allow release into those areas. So maybe you're feeling it more on the outer part of the left hip. Maybe you're feeling it more in the hamstring. It's just a matter of information. And then on your next exhale, slowly bring that right foot down, release, and bring the left foot back down. And then from here, press down into the feet, lift the hips up to the right about a couple inches, and then bring the hips down, bring the knees into the chest, and then bring those knees out to the right side. So with that right hand on top of the left knee, allow those knees to relax down, feeling a stretch in the outer part of the left hip, maybe in the left side body as well. Taking a few breaths here. As best as you can, keeping those shoulders down onto the mat. And then inhale, bring the knees back up, bring the feet down. Press down the feet, move the hips over to the right side, a couple inches, bring the knees into the chest, and then this time rolling over onto your left side. So right hand to the left knee, or actually, yes, right hand to the left knee. No, it's actually left hand to the right knee. And again, with your exhales, allow yourself to release and relax into the position, feeling more of a stretch, more of an opening. And then when you're ready to return back to center, bring the feet back down, pressing your hips back to the center position. You're welcome to take a Shavasana here, bringing arms out to the side, extending the right spine. Or if you'd like to just bring an end to your practice, roll over onto your right side. Then using your left hand, pressing yourself up into a seated position. Bring the hands together in Anjali Mudra, sitting up nice and tall. This concludes our practice. Thank you for joining. Wish you a great day. Namaste.